Hey guys, welcome back, and this is the last part of my urban camo project for the Ball Python Spotlight series. And this girl, she wants to come up here because she's very high white, is a sterling Sandblast pied female. She was one of the bigger pickups that I made earlier in this year because with urban camos, it's kind of a difficult thing to reproduce if you don't have the right setup. So what makes an urban camo is Super Cinnamon, Pastel, Sandblast, and 100% het pied. It can't be pied, it has to be 100% het pied. So now it doesn't need to be Super Cinnamon, it can be Cinnamon Black Pastel or Black Pastel HRA. It can be any of the two genes in the 8-ball gene complex, any of those allelic combos. It just first started with Super Cinnamon. Both of the urban camos I made this year are actually 8 balls, which are Cinnamon Black Pastel. But she is Super Pastel, Cinnamon Sandblast pied. So what that does for me when I'm trying to produce urban camos is if both parents have Sandblast, it obviously makes it a lot more likely that Sandblast is getting passed on to the offspring. Sandblast isn't a gene that's used a ton yet. It's not around a lot, so it's hard to find Sandblast in snakes. The fact that I got it in a pied when you're trying to make urban camos is even more valuable because she passes on 100% het pied to everything she produces. Now, my male is 100% het pied, so technically, if they make babies together, half of the babies will be pied, but the other half will be het pied. So I'll be making pieds out of that combo, but I'll also be making potential urban camos. And with her having Cinnamon and Sandblast and Super Pastel, she passes on all those other major ingredients to making an urban camo. Now, I'm hoping I'm not jinxing her right now by holding her, because she's kind of been spotty with food. I don't know if she hit the 1,000 gram. She got to like 1,200 grams and really kind of stopped feeding for me. But these last couple weeks, and when she did eat, she's one of the snakes where I had to. She would not eat live. She would eat frozen thawed, but she wouldn't eat it from me. I'd have to leave it in her tub, and if she didn't take it right away, it would sit in there. I'd have to leave it overnight, and she would end up eating it overnight. She was a very shy eater. Something clicked on her in the last 2 weeks, and she's actually waiting at the front of the tub and taking the rats from me as I'm feeding everybody on Monday nights. So I'm hoping that pattern keeps up because she was a spotty eater before, but now she's aggressively feeding, and that makes me extremely excited for this season because she is almost at breeding size as is. And you know, if I give her another 2 months to grow and then start pairing her up at the start of 2022, there's a good chance that she's going to be able to produce a nice clutch for me and hopefully, you know, a decent amount of urban camos. But she is when you put Cinnamon in pied, it usually produces a very high white snake. If you've seen or heard of panda pieds, they're Super Cinnamon pieds, and they're really cool, some of them, because some of them are all white, and you know, you'd never know you had a pied, and some of them end up having like a black head, or a black head with a couple of black spots, and that's probably the most pure black color that I've seen on a ball python. But when you make a panda pied, you're not guaranteed that there's any color on it whatsoever. It could just be an all white pied snake, which defeats the purpose of making a pied, and it defeats the purpose of making a cinnamon or panda pied. But she has basically just the color on her head there, which is pretty, and she has one little black dot on her back. That is the only pattern. Oh no, I lied. She has like a little speckle, if you can catch that, on her tail down there. So she has, other than her head, there are only 2 dots of black on her body, but her head is really cool. If you can see that there, it should be focusing. She's a really pretty snake. Sandblast, and some of the snakes I produced this year, it's kind of hard to see how it affects the snake. it's a little easier to see as they grow up, especially on their heads. And I'll show you the Denki King Jr. next, who's Sandblast, and it really does a lot to his pattern. But it's a neat gene. I'm surprised people aren't using it more, other than I think basically the people using it to make urban camos. I think there's a lot to do with it, and I'm curious to see what Super Sandblast does with a lot of stuff. So, I'm trying to kind of, expand what I have in my collection with Sandblast anyways. And, obviously it's important for urban camos, but I think it can do a lot more with some other genes as well. So, having Sandblast in your collection might be a cool idea, even if you're not making urban camos. I think it can do a lot with other stuff. And it does just kind of what it says it does. It kind of just looks like you sandblasted the snake's color or pattern. If you can kind of see that in the head there. You can actually see it a lot better in Denki King. So he's the next video, and he is absolutely the last. He's the last snake that is in that urban camo project. I'm kind of, I think, breaking up these ball python spotlight videos into the projects that I have going. The first couple of videos with the Blue Eye Lucies, and these ones are all going to be about the kind of the urban camo or the darker genes that I have. Probably easiest way to do it so that you guys can see the comparisons between what the different genes and what they do, instead of me breaking it up and throwing them all over the place. So that's it for her. In the next video, we'll end up doing Denki King.